The bar on Station Veyr-9 was loud, smoky, and crowded with species from every corner of the galaxy. For most, it was a place to drink, gamble, or trade whispered rumors of politics and war. For others, it was a place to measure strength, not just physical, but cultural. Humans had only recently joined the galactic concord. Their reputation was still being formed, and most species viewed them as curious, soft-bodied mammals from a backwater planet. Interesting, perhaps, but not dangerous. That perception changed one night, when a single fight shattered every assumption. Corporal Daniel Reeve of Earth's Defense Fleet had been off duty, nursing a cheap drink at the corner of the bar. He wasn't looking for trouble. But trouble, as always, had a way of finding humans. The instigators were a trio of Sarek warriors, towering insectoids with hardened exoskeletons and an infamous reputation for violence. They were veterans of countless skirmishes, and they had little respect for what they called flesh races. Human, one of them clicked, mandibles snapping together. I heard your kind still uses metal sticks and chemicals to fight. Tell me, is it true your weapons explode in your own hands? Reeve kept his voice calm. It's called gunpowder. And yes, it explodes. That's the point. The aliens laughed, a chittering sound that made the other patrons glance over nervously. The Sarek leaned closer, towering over him. Weak. Fragile. Do you know what we call your kind in our tongue? The breakables. The room went quiet. Even the bartenders froze. Everyone expected Reeve to back down. Humans weren't supposed to challenge Sarek in open confrontation. Instead, Reeve took a slow sip of his drink, set it down, and stood. You want to see how breakable I am? Let's test that. The first strike came fast. The Sarek swung a serrated limb meant to tear through armor. Reeve ducked, grabbed a stool, and slammed it against the creature's joint. The crack echoed across the bar. The warrior shrieked as the limb buckled. The other two lunged, but humans, unlike most galactic species, thrived in chaos. Reeve moved with reckless precision, using the environment as his weapon. He shattered a bottle into shards and drove it into the sensitive gap beneath another Sarek's carapace. He flipped a table to block an incoming strike. He bled from a cut on his cheek but didn't slow. To the watching aliens, it was bewildering. Every species fought with discipline, technique, or careful restraint. But this human, this small, soft creature, was fighting with something different, raw determination. Every move was messy yet effective, fueled not by training alone but by sheer refusal to yield. The largest Sarek grabbed Reeve and hurled him into the wall. Bones should have broken. But the human dragged himself back up, eyes burning with fury. You'll have to do better than that, he spat, blood on his lips. The bar had gone silent except for the sound of breaking furniture and the ragged breaths of combat. For the first time, the Sarek hesitated. No one had ever stood against them this long. Reeve charged again, driving a broken chair leg like a spear into the creature's midsection. The alien collapsed, howling in disbelief. The other two scrambled back, suddenly less sure of their dominance. And then it ended. Reeve stood in the wreckage, chest heaving, covered in bruises and blood but very much alive. The Sarek lay groaning on the floor. The bartender, a four-armed Veyran, broke the silence. By the stars, what are humans? The question rippled through the crowd. They had just witnessed something unprecedented, a species that refused to surrender even when hopelessly outmatched. A species that turned weakness into weapons. A species that bled freely yet kept fighting until victory was won. Word of the fight spread beyond the station within days. Across the galaxy, whispers grew louder, humans are not to be underestimated. For centuries, the Sarek had been feared. Now, their defeat at the hands of a lone human in a bar was retold in hushed voices as legend. And for Daniel Reeve, it was just another night with a drink gone wrong. But for the galaxy, it was the moment everything changed.